Two people just watched the same n8n tutorial. They have the same tools, they have the same technical ability, but one of them is stuck at just 2 or even 3K a month. The other is printing 10, 20, 30K a month. And the difference is these 5 operator moves that I'm about to get into in this video. And that's going to separate you from the 99% of tutorial addicts out there on YouTube. And the thing is, it has nothing to do with how many nodes you use and the kinds of workflows that you build. And the first operator move sounds kind of backwards, and most people skip this step, and that's why they don't get the results that they want. So the first operator move is money comes first, the workflow comes second. Now I know that sounds kind of weird, so let me explain. You might be thinking, well, how can I sell something if I don't have the actual workflow ready? The thing is, most builders will just open up n8n and build something that they think is cool and then go to the marketplace and say, hey, I've got this cool thing, do you want it? But real operators, they go out into the marketplace and they research and analyze, looking for business problems that are expensive, that take up a bunch of time and money. Problems that could cost a business 50 or 100K a year, and they use their skills to automate and eliminate this problem. And Elon Musk said it best, you get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problem that you solve. So if you solve a 50K problem, expect to get paid 5 to 10K. If you solve a 100K problem, expect to get paid 10 to 20K. 500K problem, 50 to 100K. And smart business owners will pay that every single day of the week because of the savings that they're getting. It's just simple math, simple ROI. And the reality is, nobody is paying for your workflows or your crazy templates. They're actually paying for the outcome that you can deliver. So the builders out there that are stuck and not making much money don't fully understand how to position themselves and pitch their offer from a problem-solving perspective. If you're shouting to the marketplace, hey, I can build you an AI automation with 47 nodes and it does this, this, and this, it's going to go right over the head of a smart business owner. They're not technical builders like we are. They don't understand the jargon and what that even means. But a real n8n operator is able to pitch the solution as an answer to their problem. For example, I'll save you 20 hours per week that your team is wasting manually copy and pasting between spreadsheets. So if that business is suffering from that very same problem, that's going to be pretty valuable to them and they're going to want to pay money for that. And it's something that you can build with n8n. Think of it like medicine. Nobody buys medicine because they want to take pills. They buy the medicine because they want to solve a problem. So hopefully by now you're thinking in terms of money and not nodes. But here's where most people spend months of their life building just the wrong stuff. And that leads me to the second operator move. It's called the 2-minute rule. Build less, not more. So let me explain. Before you even open n8n, if you have a task that you're trying to automate, whether it's for you or a client, do the task manually with a stopwatch if you must. And if it takes under 2 minutes and happens less than 10, 20, 30 times a month, then it's probably not worth spending hours or even days creating an automation for that specific process. So a funny example that I've seen out there is people automating the call transcripts and sending it to their team. Well, the thing is, there's a bunch of tools out there that can literally just do that for you. You don't need to build any fancy automation for this. Like building the workflow, it might take you a few hours. But if you only have a handful of calls per week, then grabbing the summary from Fireflies and copy and pasting that into an email and sending it to your team, probably not going to take too much of your time. So you've got to think, like, if that takes you, let's say, 6 minutes per week, right? 3 calls, takes you 2 minutes to grab the transcript and send the email. 6 minutes per week. And on the flip side, let's say it takes you half a day, 6 hours to build a workflow. Like, how long is it going to take for you to get an ROI on your time for building that workflow? Hopefully that makes sense and you see my point here, because sometimes you don't just need to automate absolutely everything you get your hands on. Now, a smart automation would be something like processing a bunch of leads. Let's say the business is bringing in 50, 100 leads a day, and they want to score those leads, maybe enrich them and do some prospect research so they're well prepared for the sales call. Now, that is something, if you did manually, it's going to take maybe 15, 20 minutes per lead. So at 50 or even 100 leads a day, you're going to have to hire somebody full time at least to do that process manually. So this is where automation really comes into its own and provide massive value. So a founder in this example could literally fire somebody on their team if they're doing this manually and save maybe 2 or 3 or 4 grand per month. And the automation is probably only going to take you half a day to put together for them. So in that case, if they're saving 50K a year, well, that's an easy 5 to 10K automation. Now, here's where most builders still end up broke, even though they're building the right things. And this leads me to operator move number 3. Sell to people who write checks, not count pennies. Now listen, I get it. If you're just starting out and barely making any money, you'll probably take on any and all opportunities that come your way. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It's going to get you experience, but it's probably not going to get you high paying clients. But real operators, they go after bigger clients. Clients with 5 or even 6-figure budgets. And the difference is this: small business owners may only be able to afford 1 or 2K for an automation. They're gonna have to ask their wife and check in with their dog, and it's gonna be a huge decision for them. But when you reach out to companies that are doing 1, 5, 10, $50 million a year, they've got a decent sized team. These are the companies that are going to have problems worth paying to solve. Problems that they're happy to pay 5, 10, 20K for an automation that saves them a bunch of time and perhaps even makes them more money. And these kinds of businesses nowadays typically have a budget set aside for work related to AI. And they're often pretty happy to move fast because time is money, and the sooner you can roll this out into their company, the better. So these kinds of companies can typically be found on LinkedIn. You know, companies doing 1 to 10, $20 million a year, team size of at least sort of 5 people. But we're not going to get into the specifics of that in this video. Now, before I tell you how you can close these clients, if you want to learn how to implement these operator moves and build a real automation business, I work with my students one-on-one inside my n8n mentorship. And it's not just a course that you watch, it's direct access to me, multiple group calls per week, and I help you go from 0 to n8n operator in just 90 days. So if you're curious, you can click the first link in the description to apply now. All right, so here's how you close those deals. Operator move number 4, lead with free work, close with certainty. You see, most people out there are typically DMing people, sending cold email, trying to pitch their offer or their service. They're trying to hop on calls with people and get ignored like 99% of the time. This is a horrible way of doing outreach. Now, real operators who might not have so many testimonials or clients, they actually go out there and do the work and ask for a meeting afterwards. And this works well because you're leading with value. You're proving that you're legit without them having to invest any time up front. So here's the framework. You need to find a prospect with an expensive problem. Now that might sound difficult, but perhaps you've got a template or some kind of workflow that you've already built that you could perhaps demo for them. If not, you can build a solution, build like an 80% done mock-up, and then send it over to them. Hey, I built this thing for you. Check it out. If you like it, you can keep it. And if it's helpful for them or they can see the value in it, then they're going to be more likely to hop on a call with you to see how you can actually implement the workflow or the solution for their business. Now, this happened to me a few weeks ago. I get a ton of DMs and cold emails. People trying to sell me content services, YouTube services, outreach services, lead gen, all of that. And one guy stood out. He actually sent me a full script. So I was like, okay, I'll take a look. I read through it. It's something that I could easily film. And he said he was going to edit the video for free. And I thought, oh, well, that's a good chance for him to prove his value. He sent me over the edit and I was impressed. It's actually one of the videos on this channel. And so I then decided to have a call with him and decided to work with him because his work spoke for itself. Everyone is pitching and begging for a call, whereas you lead with value first. And honestly, that's how you win. That's how you stand out in this marketplace. And the cool thing is, once you close a few clients and get results, you can then use those case studies as you reach out. You can reach out to people in the same industry and say, hey, I've got this client, this result. Do you want the same? And things become easier. So now you're closing clients. Let's see how you can scale this thing without working 15-hour days. Now that brings us to operator move number 5. Build once, sell to many. Now, if you're building a custom workflow from scratch for each client, you're literally just trading time for money. Nothing wrong with that, but is it scalable? Probably not. Now, real operators, they understand how to productize a service. So you're not just building from scratch every single time. Maybe there is 20% of the work that needs to be done to customize that for the client. That's the way to go if you want to scale an automation agency. So you literally just build one system for one client and then you find other clients who have the same problem, build the same system, meaning just copy and paste it and tweak it to their specifications. In fact, that's how I operate in my agency. I don't build custom projects from scratch all of the time. I have a handful of projects that I know work, that can work for other clients in the same markets. So this is basically just working smarter, not harder. And honestly, it's your business model at the end of the day that's going to determine whether you make 10K or 100K. Same skills, same tools, but different structure. So that's how you scale from making 2K a month as a builder to a real operator beating 99% of this market. Now, here's the thing. You can take these 5 moves and try and implement them in your business, like most people are going to try and do after watching this video. But here's what I've noticed over the last 8 years. The ones who actually transform their business are not the ones out there watching video after video after video in a content death spiral. They're the ones who seek out help from people more experienced than them to help spot where they're going wrong, to help them fix the mistakes and errors that they might be making. And the thing is, you just don't know what you don't know. So getting direct feedback on your own situation is going to help you avoid spending months spinning in circles. And that's the whole reason why I created my n8n mentorship. Now, yes, you do get a bunch of videos to go through, but you also get direct one-on-one access to me in the DMs and on group calls. It's where I literally review your workflows, help you position your offer, and help you progress to that n8n operator status in just 90 days. But there's only so many people that can fit into the top 1%. And that's why I'm selective with the amount of people that I bring on into my mentorship, only 10 people per intake. So if you are interested, there is a link in the description below if you want to go ahead and apply. That's it for this video. See you inside.